gotten INFJ as your result, then wondered, is this really me? Be honest. Deep down, you've always felt different from the crowd, haven't you? INFJ is one of the 16 personality types in the Myers-Briggs system, based on Carl Jung's theory. They tend to understand other people on a very deep level, thanks to their strong intuition and empathy. But what really makes them stand out? Their rarity. Less than 2% of the world's population has this personality type. This video isn't some little box meant to shove you into. Everyone has their own unique colors, and not every INFJ is exactly the same. We're not here to slap labels on anyone. We're here to help you understand yourself better. And if you're not an INFJ, this video might be even more interesting for you, because you're about to step into the inner world of one of the most mysterious personality types you may have never truly understood. In this video, we're going to explore 8 signs that you might be an INFJ, the rarest personality type in the world. And stay until the end, because I'm not just going to give you the signs, but also share how you can turn this personality type into your greatest advantage for growth and a breakthrough. Welcome back. I'm Apex. Let's see how many of these signs sound like you. Sign 1. You always feel slightly out of sync with the world. There's a quiet feeling that follows most INFJs around, even when they're standing in the middle of a fun crowd. The feeling of not quite belonging. It's not because you hate people. Psychologically speaking, this may come from the fact that you process the world through deeper layers of meaning. Most people focus on the physical world. What's happening right in front of them? Is the food good? Is the music nice? How funny was that joke? But INFJs don't fully live in that physical present moment. Your mind is constantly scanning deeper layers underneath everything. Why did that person force that smile? That relationship seems like it's falling apart. Or what does all this noise even mean in the end? It's like you're tuning into a radio station that's always just a little off from everyone else's frequency. That doesn't mean you hate people or lack social skills. A lot of INFJs are actually very charming and outgoing, but that social side often feels more like a switch you consciously turn on to adapt, rather than your natural state. And when that switch turns off, you return to who you really are, someone standing slightly outside the world, observing it, understanding it, but rarely feeling completely part of it. Sign 2, you have strong intuition you can't fully explain. Have you ever met someone who seemed perfectly polite, but deep inside an unexplainable alarm bell started ringing? Or maybe you've had a strong feeling that something was about to happen, even though there was zero logical evidence at the time. This is the core of the INFJ personality, introverted intuition at NI. In cognitive psychology, intuition isn't magic or superstition. It's what's called subconscious pattern recognition. Imagine your brain as a supercomputer running quietly in the background. It constantly collects thousands of tiny pieces of information from your environment. A slight frown, a hesitation in someone's voice, a small habit from the past, things your conscious mind doesn't even notice. Then this supercomputer automatically connects those pieces together and gives you a final answer in the form of a gut feeling. You get the result, but you don't see the calculation process behind it. That's why you somehow know things before they happen, even when you can't logically explain why. And here's the ironic part. Your intuition isn't always right, but so many times it's accurate enough to genuinely shock you. A lot of INFJs ignore their gut feelings because they want to act more rationally, only to later say, I knew it. Something felt off from the very beginning. Sign 3. You're extremely sensitive to other people's behavior. Here's something strange. Sometimes just hearing a simple hello over the phone is enough for you to instantly notice that something feels different in the other person's tone. Tiny changes like avoiding eye contact or forcing a smile rarely escape an INFJ's radar. According to studies in behavioral psychology, when people express emotions, only around 7% of the message actually comes from the words themselves. Most of it comes from body language and tone of voice. While most people focus only on the words being said, INFJs unconsciously read the entire nonverbal picture. For example, when a friend texts, "I'm fine," most people will believe them, but you notice they didn't use their usual emoji, or that it took them way too long to type such a short message. You instantly sense the mismatch between what they're saying and the signals they're giving off. This ability makes you an amazing friend because you always know when someone needs care and support, even when they're trying hard to hide it. Sign 4. You understand the hidden motives and emotions beneath the surface. When you're dealing with someone who's irrationally angry, instead of reacting with anger yourself, the first question that usually appears in your mind is, what kind of pain are they carrying that led them to act this way? You seem to have the ability to see through someone's aggressive outer shell and notice the insecurity hiding underneath. This is where the INFJ's psychological insight really shines. Unlike most people who react to surface-level behavior, you react to the motivation behind the behavior. In psychology, this is called a high level of cognitive empathy. Maybe you have a coworker who constantly brags about their achievements and annoys everyone around them. Instead of hating them, your mind automatically starts analyzing, maybe this person never got recognition from their parents as a child, so now they constantly seek attention to cover up their insecurity. You don't just understand what people are feeling, you understand why they became that way. This ability to see the root of pain and insecurity makes others feel like you're a natural psychologist, even if you've never studied psychology a single day in your life. Sign 5. You're easily affected by the emotions around you. Sometimes you walk into a room and suddenly feel a heavy weight in your chest, even though just a few seconds ago you felt completely fine. That anxious or drained feeling isn't something you're imagining. It's because you're directly absorbing the emotional energy of the people around you. From a neuroscience perspective, your mirror neuron system is extremely active. These neurons help humans mirror other people's emotions in order to create empathy. But for INFJs, this mirroring can become so strong that the line between your emotions and someone else's emotions starts to blur. This phenomenon is called emotional contagion. If you're around cheerful, positive people, you feel recharged. But if you're around toxic people, constant complainers, or emotionally wounded people, you absorb all that negative energy like a sponge. That's why crowded, noisy places or highly competitive and stressful environments can leave INFJs physically exhausted. You don't just hear emotions, you actually carry them in your body. Sign 6. You can't stand shallow conversations. Do you ever feel drained and empty after small talk about the weather, local sports teams, or someone's outfit? Would you rather stay quiet at an entire party, but then stay awake until 3 a.m. talking with one person about the meaning of life, childhood trauma, or the universe? For INFJs, shallow conversations aren't just boring, they feel emotionally exhausting. Your mind is built to search for depth. Like a deep-sea diver, you're not interested in splashing around in ankle-deep water. You want to dive all the way to the bottom of the ocean. In social psychology, people use surface-level conversations to test the waters and create a sense of safety before forming deeper connections. But INFJs often want to skip that whole process. You crave absolute authenticity. If a conversation doesn't create a soul-level connection or offer a new understanding of something meaningful, your brain automatically labels it as background noise and stops giving it energy. That's why you may have very few friends, but the friendships you keep are incredibly deep and almost impossible to break. Sign 7. You tend to give too much. You often find yourself taking on the hardest part of the work or quietly helping someone before they even ask for it. This urge to heal the broken parts of the world can sometimes become a trap that makes you forget your own needs. This is part of the INFJ behavioral pattern, and sometimes it can become dangerous. Because of your deep desire to create meaning and help others become better, you feel a powerful urge to fix emotional wounds around you. Psychology sometimes calls this broken wing syndrome, being naturally drawn toward people who are struggling, hurting, or in need of support. For example, maybe you've had a terrible day at work, and all you want to do is go home and sleep. But then a friend calls you crying over a breakup. Instantly, you push your own exhaustion aside, spend 2 hours listening to them, and give the most sincere advice you can. Helping others gives you a sense of purpose and value, but it can also make you an easy target for energy vampires, people who only take from you and never truly care about you in return. Sign 8. You have very strong boundaries, even if you seem gentle. Think back on your past relationships. How many times did you patiently forgive the same mistake over and over again until finally the last straw hit? And then suddenly you completely cut that person off, ending all contact as if they never existed. This is one of the most famous and most shocking traits of the INFJ personality. The INFJ door slam. On the outside, you seem soft, patient, and endlessly understanding. But deep down, your core values are made of steel. The door slam isn't impulsive revenge or uncontrolled anger. Psychologically speaking, it's actually a highly rational survival defense mechanism. When you realize a relationship has become toxic, dishonest, and beyond repair, your nervous system switches into self-protection mode. You completely withdraw the emotions, care, and energy you once gave that person. At that point, your silence isn't a temporary mood waiting to be comforted. It's a permanent ending. And this shocks people because they can't believe someone as gentle as you could suddenly become so cold and decisive. And if you saw yourself in the signs we just talked about, then there's something important you need to understand. INFJs are deep, thoughtful people who often balance emotion and logic very well. But because of that, these traits aren't just strengths. If you don't understand and manage them properly, they can also become weaknesses that leave you constantly exhausted and disconnected. So instead of stopping at simply recognizing who you are, I want to share 5 practical growth directions that can help you turn this rare personality type into a foundation for real growth and a more fulfilling life. First, stop trying to be perfect. Just start, even if things are messy. Because INFJs easily fall into what psychology calls the NITI loop. This is when your intuition creates an ideal vision that's too big, while your logical thinking becomes obsessed with every possible flaw and risk. This inner conflict makes you set unrealistically high standards for yourself. You want your work to be outstanding, your project to be flawless, every sentence you write to carry deep meaning. And the result? You procrastinate. You'd rather do nothing than create something average. But the truth is, the world doesn't need the perfect version living inside your imagination. The world needs real action. Allow yourself to make mistakes, create rough drafts, and be messy at the beginning. You're not lacking ability. You're just trapped by your own idealistic standards. Finished is better than perfect. Second, don't live only inside your head. Step out and experience real life. Your mind is an incredible universe, and you spend a lot of time inside it thinking, planning, and predicting future scenarios. But there's a psychological trap here. Your intuition can only give accurate insights if it receives enough real-world data from outside experiences. If you stay locked in your room thinking all day, you'll fall into endless overthinking. Go outside, talk to people, start doing things, even fail sometimes. Your intuition is the compass, but your feet are what actually create the path. Without real experiences, you'll slowly begin doubting yourself. Third, stop waiting for other people to fully understand you. Understand and validate yourself first. You deeply crave finding someone who understands you 100%. But realistically, it's incredibly hard for anyone to fully understand a system as complex as you are. If you keep waiting for the world to tell you you're okay, you'll always feel unstable. Build your own identity. Once you truly understand yourself, other people's judgments will feel like wind passing over the surface of a lake, unable to disturb the deep water underneath. Fourth, stop keeping everything inside. Learn to express yourself. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You may understand people just by looking into their eyes, but they don't have the same mind-reading ability you do. Don't keep your needs, frustrations, and emotions bottled up, then suffer because nobody just gets it. If speaking feels too hard, then write it down. Don't force the world to play a guessing game. You have to give people the instruction manual if you want them to love you the right way. Fifth, don't forget to rest. Protect your energy at all costs. You absorb subtle information. You feel other people's pain. You're always the emotional support system for your friends. Remember this. Your nervous system is probably processing far more signals than you realize. That means you burn out quickly. Learn to say no without feeling guilty. Give yourself permission to disappear into your room, turn off your phone, read a book, or listen to music to emotionally reset yourself without explaining it to anyone. When you feel exhausted, it doesn't mean you're weak. It simply means you use your emotional energy more deeply and more intensely than most people. You can't be the charging station for the entire world if your own battery is dead. If this video feels like it truly describes who you are, then congratulations. You may belong to the less than 2% of the world's population with the INFJ personality type. You're likely someone your friends and family value deeply for your sensitivity and your ability to understand things through strong intuition, sometimes without needing obvious proof at all. There's a very common stereotype that because INFJs are sensitive and dreamy, they must be weak in the harsh reality of the world. But history has proven the opposite. Maybe that's why people often associate INFJs with figures like Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., or Mahatma Gandhi. They all carried the core traits of an INFJ, a quiet inner world paired with an unshakable vision of justice. They didn't lead through shouting or force, but through empathy and rock-solid principles. So if you are an INFJ, understand this. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It's a navigation tool. You're the kind of person willing to do whatever it takes to achieve your goals, while still deeply caring about how your actions affect other people. Once you learn how to control your intuition and create healthy boundaries, you become what's called a practical idealist, someone with a powerful vision, but with both feet firmly planted on the ground. Be proud of both your strengths and your hidden struggles, because that self-awareness will absolutely lead you toward a happier and more successful life. This world, even when it's too loud to notice sometimes, will always need your depth and your existence. If this video brought value to you, make sure to like and share it with someone you truly care about. Leave a comment telling me which sign you relate to the most, or share your own experience as an INFJ. I'd